There is something deeply confusing about loving someone who hurts you. You know the relationship is damaging, your friends can see it, you can see it, and yet walking away feels almost physically impossible. You find yourself going back, making excuses, convincing yourself that this time will be different. The pain is real, but so is the pull. And that pull is not a sign of weakness. It is not stupidity. It is not simply poor judgment. It is biology, psychology, and years of emotional conditioning working together in ways that are far more powerful than logic alone. Understanding why toxic relationships feel addictive is not about justifying them or staying in them. It is about recognizing the invisible forces at work so that you can finally start to break free from them with clarity instead of shame. To understand the addiction, you have to start with the brain. When you fall in love, your brain releases a cocktail of chemicals including dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and adrenaline. These are the same chemicals involved in drug addiction. Dopamine, in particular, is the brain's reward chemical. It surges when something pleasurable happens and drives you to seek that feeling again and again. In a healthy relationship, dopamine flows in a relatively steady and consistent pattern. But in a toxic relationship, something far more powerful happens. The highs and lows create what scientists call intermittent reinforcement. This is the same psychological mechanism that makes gambling so addictive. When rewards are unpredictable, the brain actually releases more dopamine in anticipation of the reward than it would if the reward were guaranteed. The uncertainty itself becomes the drug. Every moment of kindness after a period of cruelty hits harder than consistent kindness ever could. Every loving text after days of silence feels like oxygen after being underwater. Your brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is just being exploited by a pattern that was never meant to define a relationship. Toxic relationships rarely look toxic all the time. They operate in cycles, and understanding that cycle is critical to understanding the addiction. The cycle typically moves through 4 stages. First comes the tension-building phase, where small conflicts arise, communication breaks down, and anxiety starts to creep in. Then comes the incident, an explosion of anger, manipulation, emotional withdrawal, or cruelty. After that comes the reconciliation phase, sometimes called the honeymoon phase, where the toxic partner apologizes, becomes affectionate, showers you with attention, and the relationship briefly feels like the version you fell in love with. Finally comes the calm, a period of relative peace before the tension begins to build again. This cycle is not random. It is a loop that your nervous system learns to anticipate. During the tension phase, your body is flooded with cortisol and stress hormones. During the reconciliation phase, the relief is so intense that it mimics euphoria. Over time, your brain begins to associate the person causing your pain with also being the source of your relief. They become both the wound and the medicine. That is one of the most powerful psychological traps a human being can fall into. The addiction does not start in adulthood. For many people, the roots go back much further. Attachment theory, developed by psychologist John Bowlby, explains that the bonds we form with our earliest caregivers shape our expectations of love for the rest of our lives. If you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, where affection was followed by withdrawal, where you had to earn approval or walk on eggshells to avoid conflict, then chaos in a relationship does not feel alarming. It feels familiar. Familiarity is one of the most underestimated forces in human psychology. We are drawn to what we know, even when what we know is painful. A toxic relationship can feel like home not because it is healthy, but because it mirrors the emotional environment you were conditioned to navigate as a child. The anxiety, the hypervigilance, the desperate need to fix things and restore peace, these are not new feelings. They are old ones wearing new faces. And the brain, always seeking efficiency, defaults to familiar patterns even when those patterns cause harm. Another layer of the addiction involves identity and self-worth. In many toxic relationships, one partner gradually chips away at the other's sense of self through criticism, gaslighting, and emotional manipulation. Over time, the person on the receiving end begins to believe that they are not worthy of better treatment. They start to define their value through the toxic partner's approval. When that approval is given, even briefly, it feels like confirmation that they are enough. When it is withheld, the desperate need to earn it back becomes all-consuming. There is also the trap of potential. Toxic partners often show glimpses of who they could be, moments of genuine warmth, vulnerability, or connection that make you believe the best version of them is just around the corner. You fall in love not with who they are consistently, but with who they occasionally are. You invest in the potential, and every investment makes it harder to walk away. The sunk cost fallacy kicks in. The more you have given, the more you feel you cannot afford to lose it all. When people finally do leave toxic relationships, they are often blindsided by how painful the separation feels. They expect relief, and instead they feel grief, anxiety, restlessness, and an overwhelming urge to go back. This is not weakness. This is withdrawal. Because the brain has been conditioned to expect those dopamine surges, those intense highs after the lows, the absence of that stimulation creates a genuine neurological deficit. The brain craves the chemical rush it has been trained to expect. This is why so many people return to toxic relationships even after they have clearly identified them as harmful. The withdrawal feels worse than the relationship itself, at least in the short term. Understanding this does not mean you should go back. It means you should treat the process of leaving with the same seriousness and support that you would give to recovering from any addiction. Therapy, community, time, and self-compassion are not luxuries in this process. They are necessities. Breaking free from a toxic relationship requires more than willpower. It requires rewiring. The brain that has been trained on chaos and intermittent reinforcement needs time and consistent new experiences to build new pathways. This means surrounding yourself with people who offer steady, reliable love, even if it initially feels boring compared to the intensity you are used to. It means working with a therapist to understand the attachment wounds that made the toxic dynamic feel familiar in the first place. It means learning to sit with the discomfort of withdrawal without interpreting it as proof that you made the wrong decision. It means rebuilding your identity outside of someone else's approval. None of this is fast, none of it is easy, but it is possible. The fact that toxic relationships feel addictive does not mean you are destined to repeat the pattern forever. It means you are human. And humans with the right understanding and support have an extraordinary capacity to heal, to learn, and to choose differently. The pull you feel is real, but so is your ability to walk towards something better.